Alright, here's some news right here. Tyler Reif will not be making the Darlington race weekend in the NASCAR Truck Series this year, and Alex Bowman will be missing more competition. And Legacy Motorclub announced a third car. So let's get into today's silly season video, my first ever silly season video. So let's go. Hopefully this one's good and you guys like it. Alright, so as some of you guys know, after finishing 16th at the St. Pete Truck Series race, Tyler Reif was transported to a local area medical facility for further observation after St. Petersburg street race due to him, I believe, passing out, which is obviously not good. But when I looked through the entry list, I did not see his name in that 42 race truck. Here's a little bit of a picture from him over at St. Pete. But even with his cool suit malfunctioning, I think Tyler still did an amazing job over at St. Pete for a rookie. And hopefully Tyler can get better and continue racing here in the Truck Series, as I think it's been fun watching him race. So hopefully Tyler can get better and can run more races this year. I forgot who was running his car over at Darlington, but yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on his health to see if he will be returning to the Truck Series at Darlington or future races. But as for now, I do not think he's going to be running at Darlington for now. Alright, so Alex Bowman will miss 3 more races due to effects of his vertigo, which I believe is a sickness. But yeah, that's not good. That's about like a week or about a month, not a week, of competition. As some of you guys know, Alex had to get out of the car over at COTA and let Mayat Snyder get into the race car and drive it for the remainder of the race. And then over at Las Vegas, Justin Allgaier drove it. Now, I do not know who's going to be driving that car at Darlington. At one point, I saw that Natalie Decker might, but I do not know if that is true. But I'll have to look back at the entry list. But yeah, Alex is going to be missing more weeks of competition. Not looking good for his playoff hopes. Hopefully he can get into the playoffs and not lose his ride with Hendrick, because I feel like he is a truly underrated Hendrick driver and deserves to be there because he wins almost every season, and if he doesn't, he's very consistent. So hopefully Alex Bowman can keep his ride, as I think it's always fun watching him race for Hendrick. And if he does lose his ride, I don't know what team is going to have him run. Maybe, I don't know, Trackhouse, Spire, just some team that might need a new driver. So I honestly think that he'd probably stick with Chevy due to running Chevy almost his entire career, other than a little bit at BK Racing. But yeah, I do believe that he probably would stay at Hendrick if he does well for the rest of the year. Alright, so here's probably one of the biggest news of this video. Legacy Motorclub to expand into a third car charter. This is going to be big for the team. I do not know what team's charter they're going to be taking, but yeah, this is big news, as Legacy has probably been doing very, very well compared to other years. Of course, Eric Jones being one of the top drivers for Legacy, and John Hunter Nemechek doing a lot better, but I do not see these two drivers leaving the team anytime soon, as both of which have been very consistently around the top 20 each race. Of course, Eric Jones getting a top 10 over at Phoenix, which is very, very good for the team, despite them not really having the best engines and backing, basically being one of the worst Toyota teams this year, as both the Joe Gibbs team and 2311 teams have wins with Tyler Reddick and Denny Hamlin this year now. But honestly, the big question is, who's going to be taking that car for the third charter? Now, I honestly think that it would be a young driver who is very, very good and talented in the Xfinity and or Truck Series. So I think my big ideas of who's going to get this seat is going to be probably a driver who has run in the Cup Series before, either part-time or full-time. And maybe some of you guys know who I am trying to refer to here, but I think Harrison Burton might be the driver taking the seat, as he is a race winner, and Legacy does know that he could win races if he is given the right equipment, as we saw over at Daytona back in 2024. But what car are they going to be taking? Now, I honestly think that it might be the 44 and keeping the 84 to Jimmy Johnson, at least until he retires. So, yeah, I think that it might be the 44, which might be driven for this team for the first time since Brian Scott drove it back in 2016, which has been a very, very long time. But if they do not take the 44, it most likely would probably be the number 84, as this car has been run with Jimmy Johnson before. So they don't really have to do any big rebranding stuff. They just have to put the Jimmy Johnson number onto some t-shirts. But if they do use the 84 number, what car number would Johnson then drive over at Daytona, as he has said that the 2027 Daytona 500 or 2028, I don't remember exactly what one, would be his final start in his career. But this was announced not too long ago, so the big question is, who's going to take that seat? And again, I think it's going to be either Harrison Burton or maybe Corey Heim, even though that driver has stuck a little bit more around the 2311 team, driving the 67 car for a while. But there are also a few other drivers on my mind who could take that seat. All right, now what about Corey Heim? As we talked about Harrison Burton a little bit, Corey Heim, again, like I said earlier, has been racing more with 2311 than Legacy Motorclub. But now with that team having a new charter, he might want to swap over there to have a different team to run with. Now, of course, Heim is the reigning Truck Series champion. By 2027, he would be a champion that won a couple years ago, and he does not have a lot of Xfinity experience, but he does have a ton of Cup Series experience. He has driven these cars before to some pretty good finishes, like in the Daytona 500 this year, where he ran pretty well. All right, so here is a driver I don't think a lot of people have been really thinking about taking this seat, but I think Luke Fenhouse might be a driver who could take this seat, as he has been doing pretty well in the Xfinity Series with Heidegger Racing. He is a great driver on the short tracks and has ran with some pretty good teams like Thorsport Racing, mainly driving for the number 66 car, as you can see right here. Luke has been doing pretty well in the Xfinity Series and the few starts he's made over at Daytona and Atlanta. So, I mean, he could be a driver who people aren't going to be expecting taking this seat. And if I predict this driver to be the guy there, I'd be pretty surprised, because, I mean, he has been doing very well for Ford teams, but maybe going over to a Toyota team, which has a very good development program. It might be good for Luke's next step at NASCAR. Now here's another driver that I don't think a lot of people have been thinking about taking this seat. I think it's going to be Nick Leitz. He has been making a lot of starts for SS Greenlight Racing. Well, last year he made a ton of starts for them. As you can see, there's his throwback car from 2025. But he has also been making some starts in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Now, he probably would not be fit for a actual Cup ride by 2027, but I don't know. He's been making some starts with Toyota teams, and he could be a driver whom you might not expect taking this seat. Now, there's also a driver that has also been good with Toyota, and that's Brent Cruz. Currently, he is going to be making 29 Xfinity Series starts with Joe Gibbs Racing. He made some starts with Tricon and his own team, Brent Cruz Racing, last year in the Truck Series, all for Toyota. And he's also a very good ARCA driver, where he drove for Joe Gibbs Racing and got multiple poles and won some races. Now, Brent is probably going to be one of the most wanted Toyota drivers right now. But with him mostly being with Tricon and JGR, and him not going to be able to compete in the Cup Series for a couple more years, it might not be Brent Cruz immediately into that seat. But, of course, he might be going into that seat soon. All right, and here's one of my final driver predictions for this seat, and it's probably going to be one of the most reasonable. It's going to be probably Brendan Butterbean Queen. Now, a lot of people think that he's a young driver, but he's almost 30, and he's made a couple of Xfinity Series starts. He's a ARCA champion now, and he's running full-time in trucks. But, again, he's 30. Almost 30, sorry. But he is doing very good as an almost 30-year-old. So, I think this guy could probably be the next Harry Gant, racing until he is 50 and still winning races. As you can see, he's made a few truck starts for both Tricon, Colleague, which is his team now. He also made some Xfinity Series starts with Colleague, then right there, Spire, Motorsports. I think that Brendan is super talented for his age, and probably going to be the guy taking this seat for Legacy Motorclub. But yeah, that's all my thoughts on these new silly season things, and tell me what you guys think of this video in the comments. Tell me who you think that will be taking that Legacy Motorclub seat, and I'll see you guys over my next silly season video, which will hopefully be soon. So be on the lookout for that, and while you're at it, go check out my new Puma Talladega sim racing league, which is going to be real fun. See you guys in the next video.